You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of KNUCKLE! Woo! Good thing I wasn't driving on that one. I'd be crashing into the shoulder, like I've done before on multiple occasions. Anyway, this is round number 337 as we march closer inexorably to round number 251 or 52. Those of you who don't know, shows go backwards like time's arrow. A book by Martin Amis that I love. I am your host, Eugene S. Robinson. The S stands for stormy. Yeah, and I have in existence, I don't know if you can see it, stigmata, enmity in the highest. It is the only one in existence, and I'm going to put it on eBay unless you make me an offer right now. Pinko95014 at yahoo.com, baby. It's the only one. Yeah, I'm wearing it. It's not like I wiped my ass with it. I'm just wearing it. But first, the song that says it all. Listen well, brothers.
I'm on my way back to nowhere. I took my time, but I could not see too clear.
I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. Being payback in full always nothing. Well. I had to cut the music because everybody complained about the music overpowering things. I'm glad to see we got some viewers right away. This is round number 337. I'm calling this the storm before the quiet. And I don't know if you've been noticing, but this is, there's a certain exaltation, a certain exhilaration that many of us who are hardcore fight fanatics that we feel sometimes before going into a fight weekend, which is what this is. We got Rose pajamas and Paige. We got like 3 fights this week coming up. And we just came off of Bellator, which was a local event for me on Friday. I'm a bit under the weather, if you cannot tell. My oldest kid, she's over 18 now. So she says, "Hey, Dad, should I get a flu shot?" I go, under no circumstances should you get a flu shot. You're better off hanging around Chinese chickens. You get SARS. Don't get a flu shot. No matter what you do, don't get a flu shot. You're better off having your body accidentally get the flu like everybody else. Look at the World Health Organization. Look at the immunization programs back in the 70s, and then follow where there were the outbreaks of HIV first. You do not trust anybody. Yeah, and I'm not even just speaking. This is not anecdotal. This is me being at Kaiser, the hospital that will kill you. A buddy of mine, Doug Whitmer, had 2 of his parents killed by Kaiser, and the little old lady is about to give me my tetanus shot. Because a guy who fights or who likes to fight should have a tetanus shot. And she's fumbling and she's doing like this thing. She's taking the stuff off the shelf and she's going like this. And I go, I'm sorry, can I take a look at that? And she goes, "Oh, sure." And I go, this actually doesn't say tetanus on it at all. And she goes, "Do really?" "Oh, you're right. Don't give me that shit. You're about to, it's like taking LSD. Once that stuff is on your tongue, Jack, the roller coaster ride has begun. Once she injects that or, you know, oh, we're sorry. You know, you're sorry. I'm sorry. So my kid goes to the doctor. The doctor says, you should get a flu shot. She goes, I don't want a flu shot. You know, you get dressed, and she's getting dressed. The doctor says, are you ready for the flu shot? She says, I said I don't want a flu. You should really have a flu shot. My kid has never succumbed to any other kind of peer pressure. But there she succumbed, you know, and she gets a flu shot, right? So then she's hanging around me on Tuesday, and she goes, oh, my God, well, you know, I should be okay. And then then I had a couple of tough days of jiu-jitsu where I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like I laid on the floor for half an hour afterward. I was like, man, I'm losing it. You guys, I don't know what's going on. And then I was like full blown sick, sneezing. But I'm one of those guys like that guy at Adobe who went to work with a compound fracture of his leg. You know, he did it on the ski slopes in Truckee, drove to work and said, I don't know how it happened. He was probably dressed in ski boots at work. Hey, this is the new trend. You know, I'm one of those guys. I'm sick. I'm going to work. Because you know where I got it? I probably got it at work. If I didn't get it from my kid, I got it at work. So it's been a hell of a week. I've been fucked up. That's a prelude. The prelude to explain how I'm getting not a sense of exhilaration and exaltation going into this fight weekend, but I am filled with fear and dread and trembling unto death. You know, and if you don't, there are signs of plenty. There are signs of plenty. Let me give you sign number one. Let me give you sign number one that Hitler is about to invade Stalingrad a little too late in the season. All right. UFC is building a new headquarters, and they're spending $7.8 million just for the land. Sherdog reported this. Fine, right? I mean, that's really pretty fine, right? You know, a world-class organization should have a world-class building for that organization. You know, Apple is building some new facility that supposedly looks like a spaceship. Facebook is expanding all over the place. Good for me. Very much near the neighborhood where I presently happen to be doing this show. Real estate values will go up. I want to see some artisanal cheese places, baby. Put them in now. Oh, gentrification. If you've lived in a neighborhood more than 10 years and you haven't figured out how to beg, borrow, or steal your way a house and invest in your community, I'm going to have to say, move. That town is not for you. If it's taking you 10 years to figure out whether that town's for you, it's not for you because things are not shaking there for you the way they should. I know a guy named Wyatt who went to some godforsaken place in Pennsylvania, and he bought himself a warehouse that was the size of a football field for like $22,000. And he built catwalks. It had 4 floors. It had an Olympic-sized pool in the bottom. You could swing across the catwalks and dive in the pool. It was a mansion. Outside, it looked like a warehouse. He bought it for $22,000, put $10,000 in. You know, he said, well, I'm not going to come up with that. Hey, man, if you could come up with 10 grand, you could finance the other 12. Well, who wants to live in Pennsylvania? Then you're willing to be the butt boy of the rich, a plaything of the rich. And that's what I get when I get a $7.8 million sale for the land or for a headquarters. Google just closed down Gold's Gym, the gym I've been at for 30 years, because they want to expand. Not only did they close down my dance studio where I took tango, but they also closed down the Gold's Gym that's been there for 30 years. Which means that the guy who owned it, Jerry McCall, Gold's Gym Group in Northern California, didn't have the sense to buy it. But these companies expand because, you know, for a world-class organization, you should have a building that reflects this. This is some third world dictator type thinking. I mean, I thought it was pretty good that Google moved into Silicon Graphics and Aldo into these companies folded, then they boom, moved in. You know, Sun Microsystems lost a bunch, boom, these companies moved in. Facebook moved in. Facebook wasn't always Facebook, it was Sun Microsystems. They were in Palo Alto, they moved to Sun Microsystems, boom. But everybody has this legacy thing. Oh, Steve Jobs is building a spaceship, I gotta have a spaceship. Steve Jobs has a clock radio, I need a clock radio. Steve Jobs has a cow, I need a cow. God love you. If you want to spend $7.8 million just on the land, so we're talking at least a $50 million project. You want to spend $50 million on a project when the average fighter pay in the UFC is $24,000 if you fight. If you fight. There's a great scene in that show. What the hell was it? Deadwood. And I think it was the third season. And the sleazy hotel owner is, you know, he gets some bad news from this guy who's coming in, this super powerful guy who's coming in prospecting. It was a phenomenal scene because I would guess that David Milch or whoever the creator was didn't tell the actor what was going to happen. And the guy who was on that TV show, not Remington, but not Cagney and Lacey, but the guy who played the heavy, the gold prospecting heavy, Gerald McRaney or whatever his name was, he played a light comic actor on TV, and then he came and did this heavy on Deadwood. He's doing this heavy scene with him, and he's screaming at the guy. And in the middle of this scene, he hawks a loogie in his face. This was my solid guess is that one, David Milch told him to do it. Didn't tell the actor whose face was going to be spit in that it was going to happen, and kept that camera rolling just to see what's going to happen. You know, Daniel Cormier, when he said to John Jones, "I'll spit in your face," you know, John Jones said, "I will literally kill you." There was a great description about sex in prison. And it was in Hustler that I read it, Hustler publication I've worked for. And it talks about this Christian woman worker who met and married a prisoner and about the pitfalls therein. And she's like describing how terrible it was. And it was the worst thing in the world. You're reading this thing wrapped, you know, what did he do? You know, they had their first conjugal visit. What could he have possibly done? Did he rape her? Did he? No, the sex was consensual, and she's going on, and it was beautiful and loving. And then suddenly it started to pick up speed, and she was, you know, getting confused. And then she goes, and then it happened. What's that? You're reading, you know, your fingers are gripped tight to the pages of Hustler, both hands. And she goes, right in the middle, I'm like, yeah, what? He spit on me. Okay, well, did he spit on your face? He spit on my ass, on my back. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you know, if you ran to your car and it started drizzling and the same amount of fluid fell on your face, you probably wouldn't be so upset. You can't get lost in symbolism unless you do. Unless the purchase of a $7.8 million piece of land and a $50 I've been inside that office. I made a presentation to Jennifer Wank when I was at Future Publishing. They were Future would go in and do turnkey stuff. They go to Sony, they go to these different PlayStation. They play the same company, right? But they would do these things. We'll do all your magazine needs. All you have to do is give us a naming rights to use. You could be part of the editorial process. We'll do it. It'll be your magazine. So we make this whole pitch. The bald one is there. He's into it. Sort of. He goes, great. Yeah, well, that'll be about $2 or $3 million. What are you talking about? No, we do everything for you. We do everything for you. We even give you a lion's share of the profit. We're not out to get. Well, yeah. After you give $2 or $3 million. Okay. Well, we're not talking to serious people now. Packed up our stuff and left. And then they went up to the people that used to own Reader magazine. I think they got it. When's the last time you saw the UFC magazine? Exactly. Then it goes back to Future years later after my pitch. And you know what happened to Future? They used to have this 2 stories in South San Francisco, this huge building, and they did a big photo studio, all gone. Now they like have a little coffee shop in San Francisco. And what I'm getting from the inside is that the deal has not gone that well. Surprise! Who the fuck goes to a magazine for MMA now? That Gene Pitney song, "This Girl Belongs to Yesterday." That shit belongs to yesterday. In any case, the spit on the face, you know, I mean, what kind of impunity? What kind of Alfred E. Newman, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, what me worry, what kind of Alfred E. Newman shit has to go on before you are facing down a guy who's asking for $100 million and another guy who's threatening to unionize before you go, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, I'm going to invade Stalingrad. Fuck you. I'm bombing Britain. I've invaded and conquered France. I've annexed Austria. All of Eastern Europe has fallen to me. Norway is playing along. I got Vichy. Denmark is the only country over there that could hold its head up high. It resisted the Nazis when the king of Denmark said, "Great, you didn't send me the right number of Jewish stars." They go, whoa, where'd all these extra Jews come from? Well, it's not extra Jews, but it's everybody in Denmark wants to wear one. No, but you don't understand. This is only for the Jews. He goes, you don't understand. I want to wear one, and all of my subjects want to wear one. You know, and Himmler was like, okay, you know what? Just let him alone. Just let him alone. Denmark was largely left alone, as were Switzerland. The Swiss believe it was their mountain redoubt and their stabbing army knives that protected them. In actual fact, that it is a pretty perilous fortification. It was also lots of cash coming from Germany. And make no mistake, the Swiss were the first ones to put the J designation on passports to designate the carrier as a Jew. Thank you, Switzerland. So do you have any, do you have any idea how big your gaguzis have to be before facing that kind of shit, you decide to build a $50 million palace? All it could be, who's that dictator, not the Albanian dictator or Armenian, the guy who built a 60-foot gold statue of himself that he said must always face the sun. So he got the top engineers in this country to do it so that it essentially always faces the sun. Yeah, and everybody who wears underwear must now wear it on the outside. Every child under 10 is now 10. I'm quoting Bananas. Kid Not Tay would know this. So you're starting to see the dark writing on a darker wall. You know, there's an old saying about, do not draw a picture of the devil on the wall. I mean, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. I got to go back to Curtis F. Wong shining his Rolls Royce as he denies the former editor-in-chief Todd Hester a 20-cent raise. Do you understand that people are talking about terrorism this and terrorism that? What would cause a military-age man, fundamentally a man between the age of 18 and 45, what would cause this guy to say, you know what? Fuck all that. I'm gonna blow myself up. You think that's hope? Now, don't give me that stuff about the virgins. Nobody's doing that for virgins. This is a product of hopelessness. I'm not pleading the case for these pricks at all. but Donald Trump is not putting a suicide vest on. He's got too much to live for. And neither are the Fertittas. They got too much to live for, like their fucking $38 million house in Malibu. And now they're 50. You can go from a $38 million house in Malibu to your $50 million office in Vegas. Meanwhile, you understand? Do you understand when a guy gets he averages $24,000 a year? You do know that's poverty, right? And you are aware of what the tax bite is on that, right? That means that you are renting a room from somebody and in all likelihood, taking the bus to train. That's what that means. You know, that's what they, and if you, much like the guy spitting on the guy's face and the guy in Deadwood and not giving him permission to wipe the spit off of his face, you know, I mean, look, it's one thing if that's your scene, you know, if you got some kind of Dom BDSM thing going, you know, and this is part of your sex play, that's that's a completely different thing. If this is part of your professional life and you're being paid to be a Dom or a sub, that's a completely different thing. Most of the people fighting for the UFC are not expected to begin or end their workday with a gob of spit on their face. And yet, nothing says spit in the face like a $50 million. I mean, you know, it's a great act of bravado, which is exactly why third world dictators do it, which is exactly why pork chop preachers do it. You know, why do in the dark what you can do in the open? And now there's this news report that Bill Clinton tried to fuck Jackie O. Oh, boy, moi. You know, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the 2016 election, but shit is shaking out in the strangest of ways. And if you don't think that there's somebody's going to be taking a shot at somebody, and I'm not talking about cross words before this is all over, you are absolutely positively wrong. This is hot house shit, and it's not been like this. And I've been paying attention since 1972. I didn't pay attention before that, but I started paying attention in 1972 when I was 10. So you get the bald one and the rest of Zuffa with the $50 million spread in Vegas, the $38 million house in Malibu, and you got a guy, you know, Mr. McG, you know, Conor McGregor, who's fighting the fight of his life, saying that he's acting. So people are saying, Kid Nate himself said, he's not asking for 100 mil. Well, he's asking, but he's not expecting. Well, he's asking, he's negotiating. As far as I know, McG said 100 mil. Not a nickel less. You know what happens? You know what happens when you ask for 100 mil? If Zuffa counters with even 50 mil, you will notice that your ass is feeling kind of breezy. You can't blink. You cannot blink. If McG, Conor McGregor wins this fight, if he wins this fight, I don't know, I can't remember where he is in terms of the contract. If there's more fights or he wants to re-sign, you build a $50 million thing. It means that you can't lose. I feel like Talia Shire and Rocky. You can't win. You can't win. He doesn't get the 100 million. Where does he go? He quits. He goes to where am I? I fight one crappy fight left. I'm going to go. You know, go, leave, go fight Bellator. Who are you going to fight in Bellator? Bellator's going to pay you 100 mil. God love him. Let him pay. Then I can use that as an exhibit in court to show that I'm not involved in any sort of restraint of trade. There he goes. People might follow him, like they follow their hairdresser. They might follow him, maybe. You know, maybe he's heavy enough. They just did that Bellator Friday night. Josh Thompson against who? Villaseca? Who? What? Who knows who that guy is? It's like one-man show, like Tyson said. I could sell out Madison Square Garden jerking off. The reality of it is, maybe Conor's got enough juice to be able to do it. It doesn't matter. But Conor's got to eat. Doesn't matter. How long is he going to stay if he stays gone? And if he comes back not to 100 mil. You need to get this straight. You'll never get that okay to wipe that spit on your face. Never. You will never get that $100 million. Never. And if you don't hold out, I keep hipping everybody to Cal Scalak. If you don't hold out, Cal Scalak was kind of a problem. What Conor McGregor has done is called foreshadowing in a very effective way. If he wins this fight, that's what he's asking for. If he loses this fight, excuse me, Mr. White. Hey, you know, we'll give you 6. Fine. Thanks, boss. The plane. And if Jose Aldo wins, there's not going to be any union. There's not going to, oh, yeah, sure. You guys want to unionize? I'll tell you what. I give you $5,000 more. You know, I know these guys, and these guys are not friends of mine necessarily. And they have a bachelor party in San Francisco. And one of the guys is charged with getting the entertainment. And they go, oh, well, we're going to get some high-priced escorts. No, they go trolling the edge of the tenderloin, and they come back with 2 or 3 crack whores. And they tell these crack whores, they say, look, it's a bachelor party. You got to do a show. We'll give you $40 a piece. You know, we'll give you $40 a piece for the show. Now, you could imagine, I used to be a bouncer for strippers and the ones who would go in the hotel room. You know, these were dangerous deals. You know, at one point, some guy is for a bachelor party for hockey players. I didn't think this one through. And at the end, the girl's over my shoulder. I'm like punching guys in the face. Guys are just leaping across the room trying to get the girl. Now, keep in mind, I got a sidearm. But it's a bachelor party. I can't fucking shoot a bunch of hockey players. Yeah, I mean, I guess they would have to actually start to try to rape her before I could shoot them or stab them. But this is when I was 265, just punched my way out of there. I got a good tip that night from her. But so they get these crack whores. And the crack whores, believe me, this is not something I ever would have allowed to happen had I been a bouncer there. These guys were not being respectful at all. You know, the stuff that strippers typically, if you're dealing with a stripper, she's telling you to sit on, unless she's a whore, sit on your hands, shut up. No touching. Well, these guys were touching. I wasn't there. These guys are touching. They're, you know, doing, you know, they're being bad clients. And the crack whores are putting up with it, and you know, guys are throwing stuff at them, really super insulting. And at the end of it, the guy who was there tells me, they say, all right, show's over, you guys, we're gonna go, give us our money. And the guy gives them $40. And they go, whoa, it's $40 a piece. The guy goes, no, you got that all wrong. It's $40. You know, no, it's $40 a piece. So why would I offer $40 for you ugly skanks? I'm not going to give you $40 a piece, you crazy? And they argue back and forth. And the guy says, you know what? I don't like your fucking attitude. I'm not giving you anything. And so the girl's like, well, you know, there's this big uproar. And then he goes, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll give you the $40 if you fight her for it. Yeah, how do you like it? Makes you feel dirty just to hear it, right? And these crack whores go at it. They start fighting each other, and these guys are hooting and hollering. And at the end of the fight, he says, all right, declares one the winner, and he gives her $20. She goes, what about the other $20? I go, nah, that wasn't the deal, he says. And they throw him out. Absolutely, like Bushwick Bill says, no respect. That's what a $50 million office building says to me. You know, it's one thing if you're a Google, a Facebook, you know, these companies building these palatial Apple. You know how many dreams Apple, I worked at Apple a year and a half. You know, I mean, if I had even had the smarts to work there 2 years, I'd have been all right. Apple has made it possible for me not to worry about my kids being able to go to college. Corporations make dreams possible. I'm not, don't get me up to the Citizens United. I'm not talking about that. But this is equitable, profit share. The dividend at Apple was substantial. When they said, oh, we got all these billions of dollars, we feel so bad, we got to pay back. No, this is not happening. I had some guy brace me. He braced me Saturday. I had to go to an all-day team building thing for work. Don't start. Don't even start. The less I say about that, the better. All day Saturday, guy braces me there and he goes, I don't understand how these no-name boxers are walking away with 1 or 2 or 3 million, and you got these guys beating their heads out for $7,000 in the UFC when people are going crazy and they're selling out. The pay-per-view is super high. I don't understand it. What are you supposed to say? You know, I'm not a mouthpiece. I'm no MMA journalist of the year, you know, who's getting the, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm not one of those guys. How am I supposed to explain this? How? How am I supposed to explain it? And already, you see, you know what they used to call it? Hobbling. You know, if a slave ran away too much, they, look, you know, this guy, we'll fix him up a bit. Make it so he can't run so fast and so far. Because right now, it's the shit here. What if I got it. I will show you. And I'm bundled up because it's fucking cold. That's right. And it's easier to light a candle in the curse of darkness, or in this case, put a coat on rather than turn the heat on. Well, I can't find the piece of paper now. Oh, here it is. I think I got it. Hold on. Yeah. Whoa. Look at that. I'm rich. Well, anyway, it was an article about Holly Holmes. And it was accusations. I don't know if you read it. Accusations about her and that she is sponsored by this pharma company that makes a few of the banned substances. And people going, hey, wait a minute, you know. And they already responded. And they say, hey, what are you talking about? You know, she's not on banned substances. You know, just because we'll take anybody's money. And all of a sudden I'm going, wait a minute. I thought this was a sponsor. What is it? I thought Reebok had some sort of closure on. Things are getting very confused. And now people are talking about Sage Northcutt. Sage Northcutt is possibly, you know, allegations about him being, you know what? Oh, here we go. I got it. I knew I had it somewhere. Home a cheater. After Holly Holmes knocked out Ronda Rousey, I'm going to call her Rousey, at UFC 193, a company that sells supplements containing substances banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, offered congratulations, according to USA Today. Congratulations, read a message on Intel Pharma's website after Holmes won on Saturday. We always believed. As it turns out, the Texas-based firm sponsors Holmes despite the fact that the UFC's independent administrator of its doping protocol is the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, which adheres to WADA rules. Don Caitlin, an anti-doping expert, said Holmes' business relationship with Intel Pharma is a pretty bad idea. Lenny Fresquez, Holmes' manager, said Monday that he and the fighter were aware before signing the sponsorship deal that Intel Pharma sell products containing banned substances. Holly didn't really use them, so it's not a big deal. Not a big deal, Jesus Christ. When you got these kind of people behind the wheel, can you blame the bald one for buying $50 million on a palatial office? Not to mention a $38 million house in Malibu. Can you blame him? Do you know what rich people think about poor people? Do you have any idea? We cannot give them this money because they do not know how to use it. And largely, every single article you read about how a lottery winner is doomed, and read The Big Kill, or it's a movie, The Big Kill with Lawrence Tierney. And this is propaganda, rich person propaganda. The poor characters are described as rotten inside, as social climbers, and ultimately murderers. You know the story about Cain and Abel? You know what the story was about? Ancient Jews were wandering people. This was a cautionary tale. It means if you happen to come across farmers, which is what Cain was, watch out. They will kill you. All roads are pointing to it. When you cross that Rubicon and become rich, you stop believing that people who aren't rich are, I mean, you have all kinds of crazy ideas. Just like Dom DeLuise in the 12 chairs. How is it that God gave me the power to get up here and denied you the same? Denied you the same. So you start to see a picture that emerges. It doesn't matter, man. It does. I mean, it's hopeless futility. It doesn't matter whether it's Jose Aldo or Connor McGee. These guys are fighting for peanuts, and the peanuts are not even any good. You know, they did the experiment with the chimps, and they gave them an inequitable amount of stuff, and the chimps that got the, you know, one raisin, you know, were okay with the chimps who got 6. Humans are not like that. What about that chimp they shot into outer space, and the chimp climbs out, risked his life, climbs out of the space shuttle after it lands back on Earth, and they give the chimp an apple, and the chimp just kind of looks at the apple and ate the apple. Ultimately, every MMA fighter that you know is that chimp. And that's fine. But it's not so fine for me having to watch it. Have you watched a lot of porn where the people in it are crying? I asked my friend Mr. Marcus about this scene. It was clear to me that he told this woman, "You're going to be in a scene with me." So she was excited. He said he met most of his actresses at the mall. So she shows up. What he didn't tell her is that his very fat, smelly friend was also going to be in the scene. He didn't mention that. And you can see that she's suddenly in shock that she has to fillet a man whose penis she has to find under his gut. You should spend some time talking to porn stars. That shit is sobering. Well, I wouldn't have minded if he didn't have flecks of toilet paper on his balls. Oh, yeah, this is stuff you don't want to know. I already lost a viewer because of that. The guy's just out. He's like, out. I don't need to know. Flecks of toilet paper on somebody's balls, I don't need to know. 2. All right, I'll get back to MMA. No more. But I'm just saying. I'm looking everywhere, and I'm seeing dark shadows. Chris Cyborg says, I'm not going to drop to 140 pounds. I'm not going to drop to 135. Why? Because they're going to hustle Ronda back in there, and she's gonna fight Holly Holmes, is going to rematch 135, and then people are going to see what happens. He doesn't need to lose the weight now. Everything is on lock. Will Chris Cyborg fight either Holly Holmes or Ronda in 2016? Yes. In the first part of 2016? No. And if she fights Holmes, you know, I mean, have you been watching Twitter? People are going crazy. They're going crazy. Ding dong, the witch is dead. They're going crazy over Holly Holmes. And there's none of that sexy shit, because all she has to do is show up and look okay, because she's married. You know, she's married. You know, you don't really attach to married women like that. Sometimes you do. Who was that? Frank was married to a football commentator. Was married to Kelly. He was multiply unfaithful to her, and you could tell she was exacting her revenge. Frank, he just died, and he's married to Kelly. My memory is shot. I've been taking that, the pill medicine sickness. So Cyborg is not, so not only is the house winning, the house is winning big. Cyborg has been put in place. She's on ice. She's fighting some Invicta fight nobody cares about. Ronda gets hustled out there again, not ready. It'll take you longer than 6 months to come up for something like that. Yeah, maybe she could do this thing of, I'm going to hang back, I'm going to hang back, I'm going to hang back. That's okay. Hang back. Hang back. But it's going to take more than that. If you don't think Greg Jackson has already been working on something, you're quite wrong. You know what your coach is working on? How to beat the rap. Luke Rockhold and Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman, the forgotten one. And I had everybody vote, everybody who voted on what we're going to call those guys who are not even gatekeepers, who are sitting at home, like the Janice Ian song, I learned the trick at 17. Oh, somebody's texting me, huh? What do you want to know? Did you get Frank Gifford? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Frank Gifford. And what was his wife's name? Text me that, please. Frank, how could I forget? Kelly, she was hot back in 1977. I had a teenage crush on her. Mostly because I could see that she was available. I didn't realize she was doing it to punish him. So Cyborg is on ice. Rockhold and Weidman. Does this make you feel good? I still haven't figured out what we're going to call these guys. I have. So what we're going to call these guys who are not gatekeepers, who are not Lost Battalion, who are sitting at home like Janice Ian. I learned the trick at 17 that life was meant for beauty queens and proud. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sing the whole song because naturally I do know all the words. What do you call the always bridesmaids, never brides? There was some talk about calling it the Phantom Battalion, the Phantomized. There were the other Kathy Lee. Thank you, sir. Kathy Lee Gifford. That's right. Kathy Lee Gifford. I could have remembered her name. So I am leaning. And I want to call them bench warmers. But even bench warmers has a little bit too much hope in it, I mean, you're only getting a call if, you getting a call is not even a good thing. It's not even a good thing. It's like that time Oxbow got a call to play with Perfect Circle. All right, Maynard from Tools, the side project, man, it'll be packed. Yeah, but they don't have enough songs to play a full set. All right, they can play a short one. Nah, they're really looking for a headliner. Let me get this straight. My friend Danny Marinado, the one who knocked out Danzig, was pushed into the same deal. Hey, buddy, let Danzig play before you can play right after because, it's a big festival, so the times don't really make a difference. And Danzig plays, they start breaking apart the stage. It's like, hey, man, you're supposed to play. The guy's like, what? And Danzig, pushes him and then gets knocked out. And then his PR people, that woman whose house I went over to and passed out on a couch, I guess her plan was to get all sexy with me. I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I gotta take Eugene home. I sit on the couch. I'm like, I woke up an hour later. Look, I gotta go. It was mostly because the bullshit was so thick. How are you gonna tell me that Danzig took the shot because he knew he was about to be sued and the guy was a gold hunter, gold digger, and this is how stop it. Stop it. I love how you PR people work, but that was straight up garbage. She also repped Zach Wilde. Not even Zach Wilde would have gone for that. I can't believe Danzig allowed it. He should have done what Eugene Robinson does. If such time as I'm getting knocked out, I'm like, hey, sometimes you do a knocking out, sometimes you get knocked out. Guy got the drop on me. What's it about, Alfie? That's what it's about. Now, if he'd like to show up in the next show, we'll put him on the guest list. We'll give him a chance to even things up. That's what he should have done. Instead of saying, oh, I took a dive on purpose because I don't want to get sued. Yeah, I knew a guy who got out of a fight by going, I just got a bunch of expensive bridge work done. Man, you went deep, pussy. You know, just take it or just walk off. You know, it's okay. So my point is, I'm gonna go with the guy who suggested. He said phantom, and then he said phantomized, and I'm gonna go back because I always go back to the literary classics. You know, let's call it the phantom toll booth because it works in the gatekeeper thing. You know, as well as this magical, mystical childhood reality, but it's pretty hopeless if you remember the book at all. So, you know, these guys in the phantom toll booth, man, you know, that, and also toll booth, you know, it's a phone booth, toll booth with phone rings. Maybe you get out, maybe you don't. But until then, you're in the phantom toll booth. So that's what it is. Yeah, I couldn't, you know, the guy who gave me phantom could maybe take a little bit of credit for it, but I couldn't exactly use your take because then you could sue me and say, "Oh, I'm profiting off of your idea." So it had to be a derivation. So you got Chris Weidman who's looking around. It's like, what? How? I'm the freaking champion. How do I end up in the phantom toll booth? How? How does this happen? We still can't figure it out. Somebody knows. And, you know, I got spies all over. If you are in any way affiliated with Maddie, Sarah Camp, Longo, Ray Longo, if you have any sense of why, you know, you can do it on background. I will not say your name. You can text me. You can email me. You let me know. You can tweet me, send me a direct message, whatever. But there's something happened, and I don't know what happened. It's not like the bald one is using Q ratings. Like maybe he is, the ones they use in Hollywood. But Weidman wasn't even given a chance. You don't know what kind of personality he has because he wasn't even given a chance. Was he given a chance? I don't think he was. So Rockhold, you know, he's got a little bit of an edge to him, you know. He's got the California Surfer Boy. He's trained. He's got the troika of Cain Velasquez and DC. You know, colorful personalities. You know, but insofar as against the house, AKA already lost. AKA already, and that kerfuffle over the video rights and images that shut things down for a bit. That was. In DC, I mean, you know, there's this talk about Madison Square Garden, San Jose for the fight. He's kind of trying to put John Jones through his paces. Like nobody believes that Matt, what's that guy's name? Matt Hamill beat John Jones since they had to raise his arm, insensate arm off the mat. Nobody's really believing that DC is going to win. There could be a magical upset. And now the bald one is talking about Johnny Boney Joni moving to heavyweight. Yeah, but not before he crushes the dreams of DC. But I don't know. I don't know why they phantom toll booth-ized Weidman. I don't. Could it be love for Anderson Silva, or as Reebok calls him, Aldo Anderson? Randy Ortiz, Tito McFadden, Chuck Davis. Why bother with any of the names? You think Giblet minds? I don't want Reebok to go away now. I just want them to stay because just when I think they can't get any worse, they pull me back in. So I don't know how those of you. I'm super excited about Connor McGee and Jose Aldo, but it's like the Lady and the Lion, man. You know, or like some guy who tried to trick me into a double teaming situation. Yeah, this double teaming thing would be great. You know, my girlfriend likes like big tools. Could you send me a picture of a big tool? You know, send a guy a picture of a jackhammer. That's very funny. Well, look, why don't you show up Tuesday? And she may be a little late getting there. And There is no girlfriend, is there? Guy goes, no, there is, but she might be late, and we could just hang until she. There's no girlfriend. That's what you read. That's where you are now. Whether it's Weidman versus Rockhold or Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo, there's no winner, is there? The bald one and the Fertittas look up from a huge pile, a pyramid, a ziggurat of cash, and they look at you and they go, I'm sorry, what did you say? And I say, never mind. I mean, the reality of it is, a friend of mine once said, it's hard to care about one person, much less 300 million. Or Hitler, one person is a tragedy, 300 million, 12 million is a statistic, whatever. I mean, I get up, take my ass to work, 5-6 days a week. I'm working, 12 hours a day, and I still don't have any money. Somewhere right now, there's a guy who's profiting off of my labor, sniffing back cognac, saying, the real problem is they caught a politician in Poland at an expensive restaurant. Somebody secretly taped her talking. So only a poor person or a moron or some such thing would work for less than 6,000 zlotys a month. They can't figure out where the money is. The GDP in Poland is huge. You can't figure out why there's no trickle down. When government ministers are sitting down at expensive meals and driving fine cars and building country estates. You know what Tom Joad said in Grapes of Wrath? He goes, I want you to call me. Because anytime there's a big guy pushing around a little guy, I'll be there. And every time there's injustice, I'll be there. You know what? I got a modern derivation for that. Every time there's a little guy being pushed around by a big guy, I'll be there helping the big guy push him around. And every time there's injustice, I'll be on the side of the people wearing the boots, inflicting the injustice. Because that's where the smart money goes. And that's what fucking capitalism does to you. And I don't care. Not strapping on a suicide vest. No, I'm like my Nazi friend in Hamburg who died a few years ago. He's like, you know what? Hitler came to power. We bought the whole thing, hook, line, and sinker, and then we rebuilt Hamburg to how you see it today. He jumped from 1941 to 2000 in a blink of an eye. In for a penny, in for a pound, buddy. That's all it's about. What I'm saying is, very simply, for those of you who do not understand, and you should have been out 50 minutes ago, is that I'm betting with the house. And I have ample philosophical justification for it that I'm not going to go into now. Because you know why? I'll tell you why. Let me give you a thumbnail sketch of why. Because the house made it possible. That's how the house is justifying building $38 million mansions in Malibu. Because without the house investment, without the house development, without the house, this is the thing about unrestrained capital. Somebody says, oh, we have a free market. We don't have a free market. Not when you got billionaires there. No. You don't wipe that spit off your face until I pay you. If I pay you, you do not wipe the spit off your face until I tell you to wipe the spit off your face. And there's nobody in a position to change that. So I'll be there, like Tom Joad, just the opposite. The last truly free voice in America has announced his intent to sell. Strangely enough, nobody wants to buy. I keep getting lots of nips. NBC, CBS, Fusion TV. Somebody told me Fusion TV. I go, yeah. Do you know? Is it very popular? He goes, well, yeah. It's like a lot of cooking channels and a live cam feed from a Kansas slaughterhouse. But you know, I go, well, hey, do lots of people watch it? He goes, yeah, lots. In parentheses. I go, in quote marks. I go, what do you mean lots in quote marks? He goes, 7. All right. I am a tick, but at least I'm not in some phantom toll booth or a lost battalion, you know. But I'm excited for these fights. But you have to know that I'm cruising into the end of 2015. It feels dark. It feels dark to me. It feels dark. They're bright spots, but they're the contretemps of the bald one against Johnny Boney Joni. All of it says to me, same thing. And when I started the show out with, you will not wipe that spit on your face till I tell you to. You can't win. How many guys have retired? A few guys retired toward the end of the year. And it's like, who? What? Guys are dead. We're dead. So ends Valentine's and another cheerier version of Knuckle Up round 337 in the chilly confines of the Knuckle Up studio. I hope you enjoyed that show. Stay tuned later in the week where we're either going to do a multi-hour Care or Don't Care preview to cover all 3 fights. If I did it, where we cover the PR kerfuffles of the day, of which there were many, like this appalling piece of news about Holly Holmes, you know? And they picked, you know, the photo editor had to bust his ass. He picked the picture that had Holly looking as roided out as we've ever seen her. I have never seen her look that way. Ever. I don't know how long that photo editor had to sift through photos to find that, but kudos to you, brother. So we'll see you later on in the week. Those of you who are watching live know that this is Sunday, but Kid Nate will get this up on Monday for the Johnny Come Latelys. And then either Wednesday or Thursday. Maybe I got the big morning meeting on Tuesday, so it'll be Wednesday or Thursday. We'll do If I Did It, Knuckle Up. You want to go to Twitter, at Eugene S. Robinson. Sometimes I put up pictures of me as a 2-year-old that might amuse you. Facebook, Eugene S. Robinson. I got 2. I got journalist and author. The one that is journalist is started by my employer. So, you know, they watch it. The one that's author is started by my producer. So that means it's cool. So Eugene S. Robinson, sadly, I've got 4,999 friends. So I just keep it from 5,000 so you can keep sending me friend requests. And every now and then when somebody pisses me off, I yank them out of there and I put somebody new in. You can still follow me. So you got the Twitter. If you want to buy the fight book, I got to autograph it. Christmas is here. I got the audio book. This fucking dog. So I got the audio book, double CD, $10. I got the fight book, $35. I got the Stigmata shirt. Make a bid. I'm wearing it, but I'll clean it before I send it. Enmity in the highest, and it's got some stuff on the back too. Christmas. It's the gift that keeps giving. What can I say? Anyway, this is the end of round 337. We'll see you next week. Look what you made me do!